You don't want to be sad anymore, but I can't love. Yeah.
Hey loves, I'm Sarah, I'm 20, I'm a queer fangirl who spends too much time on the internet.
I'm Robert, I'm not quite 50, and I don't spend as much time on the internet, but I have seen way too many movies and TV shows. And this is 50v20.
The podcast where we take a look at queer representation in media.
One ship at a time. How's the show start?
I don't know. Are we recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Oh, hey guys.
Hello, audience. The show's not back yet, but it will be probably with a season 2 in a little bit, but we had to talk about Young Royals, apparently.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't done any episodes about it before. We have mentioned it.
We haven't recorded in a while.
No.
It's been months. I'm not 20 anymore, I'm 21.
And I'm still not 50.
Close enough.
And the show may change its name. We haven't decided yet.
Let us know if you think Bury Your Gays the podcast is a good...
I think it's a great title, but it might come across wrong to new fans.
It's not about them, though.
But also, 50v20 is an awful title.
Ooh.
I mean, no, it's an interesting title if you're listening to the show. Because it does convey a point.
But it doesn't tell people
But if
what
someone's looking it up,
expect.
they're like, what the fuck's that?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll figure that out. Probably season 2 will be coming probably around the time the first season was, which was like June-ish.
Yeah.
We'll finally get to talking about Buffy. Which we kept promising and never got to.
We've been working on that episode off and on for like 6 months, so.
Now, where we are now, in case you haven't watched any Young Royals yet, is season 3 came out except for the finale. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to record before the finale, just...
Get our thoughts out there.
It'd be funnier.
Yeah.
Just in case they fix everything we said.
Because we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Spoilers, obviously. If you haven't seen season 3, please don't.
And even bigger spoilers if you haven't seen seasons 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So, where do we start when we're just talking about some of season 3?
I don't know.
We haven't talked about.
Where are you at? Like, how do you feel?
Okay, first thing. For season 3 itself. Their new status quo felt like a COVID lockdown kind of show. Mm-hmm. Where all the characters were away from each other, like Sarah's at her father's. Simon's dealing with his shit alone. Will's dealing with his shit alone. Yeah. August is just losing it. And Felice barely even talks for like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It was odd. And when Simon's friends showed up, I completely forgot they existed. Then they were in it a few more times, but the first time they were in it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's friends. People? I forgot they were there.
I love them.
Because we talked in the show last summer in so much detail about Heartstopper. Yeah. I forgot who was in this show.
Well, it's been a while since you've seen it, too, so...
Right, it was when season 2 came out, right? Did we watch it?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been like a year. Over a year.
Yeah. So the season has probably some pacing issues?
I would say so. I just don't like how much they've left for the last episode. Yeah. I just don't understand. There's so much drama and everybody hates each other that I don't understand how they're gonna, wrap it up in a way that feels satisfying. Now,
big spoilers. If, for example, when Wille is yelling at his mother... Yeah. And has the great line that you loved about...
Oh, my favorite line in the whole season is when... His mom is like, oh, it's really hard being your mom and your boss. And then Wille says, yeah, and you're damn useless at both. Yeah. It's just iconic. It's great.
In that scene, that had been the thing that, her physical problems this season feel like she's about to have a heart attack and die, basically. If it had happened at the end of that episode, I wouldn't have minded the fact that the 5 episodes, right? So far? Yeah. Had spent so much time kind of not doing anything. Mm-hmm. Because that abrupt change for a finale would have been interesting. Yeah. But she just kind of leaves the room.
Right.
And then it's so we built up to that just to get, the breakup scene instead. Which didn't fit that build-up.
Dude, I was really sad about the breakup scene, especially because I don't know why, I was being very naive. But when Simon, goes into the room, I really thought Simon was gonna, come for him or be like, are you okay? And then he was like, bye. And I was just like, oh no! I was really sad about it. I haven't recovered.
So, the new status quo for the show, I didn't double check, because we were just out and decided we were going to record today instead of tomorrow.
Because we were arguing in the car.
We were arguing in the car, and we're like, we should just save this for the show. Let's record when we get home. I think they set up the whole new status quo in the first episode. Mm-hmm. So I think Sarah's at the father's house by the end of the episode. And then Felice is falling apart at school because she has no one to talk to, and she's going through some shit quietly.
Yeah.
They have the whole meeting with the lawyers and everything, which, as you pointed out, they did take the money. Mm-hmm. I did not get that at all in that episode specifically.
Because we didn't see the moment
because
where
basically Simon's mother is like, no, I'm not teaching my son to take bribes. We're not taking it. And then they after she has said it again, they cut to them walking out. I'm like, so they didn't take it. Okay.
I'm pretty sure they did.
But yeah, I think it makes sense with what you said about them. Did you tell your friends all the money you got from August later? When they say that to Simon, it makes sense they're talking about what he got from the lawyers. So that's something. That doesn't actually affect the rest of the season. The fact that they took that money doesn't mean anything. Even the fact that they're thinking about moving. It's not like that's...
I think it was just a way to wrap up the question of the police involvement and everything, because that had been an issue over the last 2 seasons. So kind of just to get that out of the way.
Yeah. Otherwise, I know you still don't like August.
No, wait, let me explain. I do like August as a character, and this season I have felt bad for him.
Yeah.
And I want good things from him. I just don't think he's good with Sarah.
Him this season, it's not about them being gay necessarily, but it's like the dude in Heartstopper who has that,
Ben?
The bully guy.
I was thinking about that.
If whatever could be the next season for him if he was in the next season.
Yeah.
They did pretty well with August this season in showing you that he's the way he is because he doesn't, that's how he was raised to be. Was part of the initiation thing that's a big part of this season where the school hasn't been nice to him.
No.
But the only way he could be above that was literally being above that.
Right.
Which now he can't be, even when he's made the spare, officially. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't make up for, the mistakes that he made in Season 1 and Season 2, but he does want to do better and not be evil, so, good for him. That's great.
Aside maybe from, Willa's mother, the good things about people making mistakes in the show, or Simon's father, or Sarah's father, I should say, because she's the one he's hanging out with. Sarah's problems and August's problems are usually singular. Where, they did horrible things that affect people in bad ways, but it's, spur-of-the-moment decisions they made to, oh, I got that video. Oh, shit, I should share this.
Right.
And her thing to call the police. So it makes it easier for them to try to, redeem them.
Well, I'm also, just personally not of the belief that if you do one bad thing, or even several bad things in your life, that means that you're a bad person for life. So, everybody does bad things. Arguably,
Vincent is a worse person than August. Because he doesn't do as bad of things, but he does them all the time.
He's just on a roll.
He's just horrible to everybody.
Yeah.
And they could have fixed that a little bit by having, instead of him copying, we're going to protest this season, when the school's going to be closed, is him actually talking to Simon about that, because he got that idea because of Simon, basically.
Yeah, they could have had a moment of, understanding.
The only one who really acknowledges that even came from Simon is Simon.
Right. This school doesn't give a shit about him.
The school barely gave a shit about any of that. They were just fine, you can have whatever you want. It's kind of with the pacing of the season, is it feels like they set up an ending to Season 2. Mm-hmm. There's oh shit, bad things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then the initiation stuff didn't come out until now, right? Season 3?
Yeah, that's all Season 3.
So that was an extra thing to throw in that then it felt like the show didn't have time for?
Well, so we saw some of the initiation in Season 1, which, by the way, is my least favorite scene in Season 1 because it's so gross.
Oh, right. We saw it happen.
But, it was never, a drama point of the show.
Instead, they chose for this season to... Sort of the through line of the season is the school might get closed. They're not sure if the third years are going to graduate because the past initiations were pretty bad.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
not good.
Which makes for a good thing between August and Wille. Mm-hmm. But as far as the season of the show goes, it was constantly just being oh, the school's going to backtrack on that. the school's going to backtrack on that too. And like, so all the rich, I guess that might be the point. All the rich people just get what they want.
Well, they do. Like, true.
Yeah. I think it just could have been made a little better. It's almost like the season's too short, but I think they were all 6 episodes, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the season feels too short, but I think it's just because, like, people aren't interacting very much, so, like, their stories aren't really going anywhere, and that's why with the finale, I'm just like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Sarah's story for this season could have been an episode.
Literally.
Like,
or 2.
I don't think you watch this. I know you know what the show is, but if this season were edited the way that one season of Arrested Development was, where, like, you have an episode follow a character, you could have had really good episodes. Deal with all of Sarah's season in an episode that focuses on her.
Yeah.
Deal with all of Simon's in an episode. All of Wille's in an episode. All of August.
Right.
August's moments are pretty good. Simon's episodes are pretty good. Sarah's got a couple good ones, but mostly she's just
there,
hanging out with her father. I think they maybe do a good job of setting up the fact that she kind of trusts him again and is getting along with him, so that the disappointment in the end is even worse. They
did a good job, because I was mad at Sarah from, like, season 2, so I will say they did a good job of me liking her again.
Yeah.
Because I did feel really bad for her, and, like, I do like her as a character. I'm really upset because I want Sarah and Felice to be friends, and I felt like maybe that could happen. But, like, Sarah and August kissing was just, like, completely unnecessary. They just need to, like, they just need a clean break. Like, they're not good together right now. They have their own shit. They just need a breather.
I think part of that is that in that moment, one of the girls, I don't know the other one's names, one of them sees them and then runs in to tell Felice, but we don't know what she says to her.
Yeah.
We don't know how Felice reacts.
Right.
And so that's what makes whether or not that moment was worth it or not. I think for August and Sarah's plotlines, that moment's great because they're the only people they have, whether they're good at it or not. Kind of like Simon and Wille on the other side. They're supposed to be the only people that can help each other out, and they're fucking it up.
I just think in order for them to grow as characters, they shouldn't end up together.
That's fair. I mean, I don't even know that them kissing means they end up together.
Right, because we don't know what's going to happen in the finale.
They're still in, I don't know what they call it, but high school.
I just would prefer, like, finale-wise, because we don't know what's going to happen in the finale, that Sarah and August aren't a couple, and that Sarah and Felice are maybe not even best friends, but, like,
they just need to
friendly.
Have a conversation.
They're cool. Yeah.
Because they did speak, but it was very brief.
Right. Well, I would be kind of pissed, too, if I was Felice, and I'd be like, wow, we just started becoming friends, and then you're kissing him, like, 5 minutes later, like, oh, we not trust this girl. I'd be like, girl, I can't handle you. Like, I was gonna be your friend, but now I'm second guessing, you know?
Yeah. So that's the season overall. Now specifics. Team Wille versus Team Simon.
Team Wille versus Team Simon. Let us know what team you're on, because who-wee.
Or your thing, team both of them.
I'm team both. I think they're both wrong, and I think they're both right. And...
What is...
and that's it.
Now is when we get to the versus part. What is Wille right about? What did he do this season that was good?
Give me a moment.
Except for finally confront his mother. That was good. It was bad timing, given she's having health problems over the stress, but it needed to happen.
Okay. Wille isn't good this season.
Okay.
Let's just be like there. But he's justified. I feel like not everybody, but a lot of people are being like, oh, Wille is such an ass this season. Like,
I mean, well, he is.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, he's in the wrong. And, like, he is. But why does... He should have the room to, like, be in the wrong. Because this character has been through a lot, and he was obviously going to break at some point. Like, this should not come as a surprise to anybody that he's behaving this way. I'd be surprised if he wasn't behaving this way.
No, but, like, in the car, you called Simon naive this season. And I think...
He was a little bit.
No, but I think we're still on Wille. I think Wille is also naive.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he thinks he can go along with everything Farima?
Yeah.
Tells him, like, ordering Simon around, basically, like, that he has to take down his social media stuff and not deal with the comments. Like, he's fueling Simon's naivete, essentially, because Wille should know better. And he should realize, oh, I might be king by next year. Or sooner, the way his mother's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He does finally stand up to Farima about August, but he doesn't stand up against her over Simon, which is a problem.
But in some ways, like
he, at the end of season 2, he made his bed. But now it's like he's refusing to lie in it.
I don't think that he's fully in the wrong for, like, how he handled the social media stuff. Because, to be fair, like, he never called Simon when it was like, you need to take this down immediately. He was only communicating with Simon about, like, the information that he was getting. But he never told Simon to do anything. Ultimately, it was Simon's choice. So Wille's not really in the wrong for, like, giving him the message. Like, I would assume if you're dating someone of such high caliber, you would know that Simon should know that there's going to be things like that. You know what I mean? Like, Wille's not in the wrong for that.
Well, not in letting him know that that's a thing, because clearly Simon wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
But I think Wille should have been more ready for that. And should have been more on Simon's side about it. He kind of was, but only in the fact that he delayed telling him things. Or, like, we see Wille, like, struggling after he talked to Farima on the phone, but we don't see him struggling when he talks to Simon about it. Partly because they're stuck talking over they're not talking in person about a lot of those things.
Oh my god, honestly,
because of the structure of the season.
Let's be so for real. So much of this would be not solved, but, like, better if these two characters would just sit in a room and chat in person for, like, 15 minutes about everything going on. Because these two characters are just terrible at communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the biggest thing, is that they just need to talk about everything.
Yes. So many of these characters would do better if they just talk to each other.
You have to remember that they're teenagers, because I'm like, come on, guys. Like, chat it out.
That's right. If anything, I think Farima's pretty good at her job, and she just comes right out and says it.
Right. I mean, she's being straight up. Like, that's what she wants.
But what they needed, just like later in the season, they get security to pay attention to Simon and his mom after someone throws a rock through the window. They should have gotten PR people to talk to them.
Too. Yeah.
They should have had a Farima just for that.
But also, that was Wille's idea.
What?
To keep Simon safe. Like, Wille did say, like, hey, we need to make sure that Simon's safe. So that is a good thing.
Yes, which they may have only gone along with because if something did happen to Simon, it would be bad for them.
It would be a bad PR thing.
But they needed a better handler of the situation rather than a handler of Wille. They're like, we need to take you... After they tell him he needs to take more responsibility, they then tell him what to do in the next conversation.
Yeah, they're like, okay, your responsibility is going to be everything that we want of you.
Yeah.
And you're just going to follow it.
Essentially, his responsibility is to the royal family and the throne, I guess. Mm-hmm. And what it means according to them, rather than responsibility as in you get to make more decisions. Which could have been conveyed better, probably, but might be part of his problem as well in this season. Is that he thinks he can make decisions, and he's not allowed to make those decisions.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, the two bad things that Wille did this season, the two things where I'm like, because I will defend Wille all day, every day, but he did two things that pissed me off this season. And number one was when Simon was trying to talk to him about, like, the August and the Eric thing, because we found out that Eric was part of the initiations and, like, all of that. Will is so mean to Simon when Simon's just trying to help him. So that was, like, not cool. Not a cool scene. But also, like, understandable because of how emotional he was, but
Will
still not okay.
through some shit over it. That one's forgivable.
Yeah. And then the other bad thing was just at his birthday when he was being, like, mean to Simon, but then also, like, oh, you need to be here at my birthday, but then not treating him nice at his birthday. It's like, if you want him to be there, you should be kind of nice to him.
So you have no problem with the solidarity when doesn't cost you anything part.
Okay, wait. We'll get there. But one thing that I have to say is that I saw this on social media, and it was actually really funny.
Yeah.
But you know the part where they're eating the birthday cake, and Simon's like, oh, like, have you had some of the cake? And then Will is like, no, I can't have cake because, like, I could get poisoned. Mm-hmm. Like, did you see Simon's face? Because he looked so scared.
Right, because he realized he could be eating poison cake.
So the other thing is that Wille should have told him not to eat the cake.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they would think the whole... Well, I guess they would have to assume the whole cake is poisoned if they're avoiding it.
Because People,
they should not be serving cake if they didn't check.
well, because people also don't like Simon, so he could be a target. So
Yeah.
the third honorary thing that I didn't agree with is that Willa should have told him to beware of the cake.
Yeah. Well, it was an unfortunate... Simon should not have been there. The whole birthday thing is like, well, I have to go do this public event, which you can't even be in the room. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go sit at a table with my parents, who I don't like, and you're meeting for the first time. Even though he had
Not the first time.
Well, he
He's
had been
met
in
them.
the room with the mother, but he hadn't really talked to them.
They haven't chatted in like a casual
That was a big part
sense.
of they were going to
Yeah.
sit down for the first time, which was not good timing. For them.
Not at all. Mm-mm.
Like, August would have been better off being the person there instead of being sent home. or
But
back to
also,
school.
like, I don't understand why Simon, like, when they're talking in the hall at his birthday, I don't understand why Simon wouldn't just go up to him and be like, hey, are you okay? Like, he's obviously not okay, so I don't know why Simon was getting, like, upset. I don't know. If I was in Simon's position, I would have been like, Willa, you good? But Simon's not, like, checking up on him.
Good.
I know, but, like, you should be comforting towards your partner if you can tell
so
that...
should Willa, too. Simon's clearly going through some stuff this season.
Yeah.
Willa did make some, I guess, positive moves as well. Like joining the choir so they could actually spend more time together.
Yeah.
Or something. Because Simon couldn't stay at the school. That was another... That goes back to this separating everyone. That he gets grounded for the selling the drugs.
Yeah.
Means he can't hang out at the school when the school, everyone is also grounded and doesn't have their phones. And it's like, so in the season where characters most need to communicate, the biggest reason they can't communicate is not because of their own choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like, if they were just bad at communicating, cool. That's drama. That's
Right.
personal stuff. But if you keep them from being able to, it's very limiting. Like, they have a few minutes at night to use the phone. What, they're both to get an hour at first with their cell phone?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be talking about their problems. They're just too excited to talk to each other. So it was like an artificial thing set up just to keep them from talking.
Yeah, it was weird.
When it would have been a better season if people had been fixing their shit.
That's what I was hoping, and that's why I'm upset a little bit, is because, like, not getting into it, but season 1 and season 2 were so dramatic, and it felt like at the end of season 2 we were, like, entering a new era, if you will.
Yeah.
And I feel like because it's the last season, they should have tried to do something new, but instead, everyone is still being so immature, and I still ship Simon and Willa and hope that they end up together, but it's like, oh my god, they've had drama in every season. Like, I wish that there was one season where they were facing the drama together as a unit.
Since we've talked about this in this show, I will make the comparison to Supernatural. A show that has only 6 episodes per season, like this does, should not be so repetitive in its season structure as Supernatural was, where they had to, like, get in a fight and break up every season.
Yeah.
And then have to come back together for the finale. This shouldn't have felt so much like season 2's ending. I mean, we still haven't seen the ending, but it seems like we're in the same place we were at the end of season 2.
Exactly. Like, we haven't gotten anywhere. And because I was hoping they would structure it as, like, season 1 is them, like, getting together and realizing that there's drama. Season 2 is them spending time apart and trying to, like, figure it out. And then season 3 is them coming together and working on it together. Yep. But instead, they've just been apart for a lot of season 3, so.
That's why I think there's the clarity about whether or not they took the money in episode 1, which I think they did. Now, as you point out, the other line makes more sense with that in context. I think the last episode is also not clear. Was the event he went to earlier on his birthday with the potentially poisoned cake, was that him announcing his foundation?
I don't know.
Or
I thought it wasn't, but maybe it was.
Because the only way I see the finale going, assuming that wasn't him announcing his foundation, that was just some birthday public event, is that the only way he can get Simon to even be with him again is to change his foundation to be something like Simon suggested.
Yeah.
Which then could be the last straw that also fucks things up for his mother. His mother dies or...
Dies because he's gay!
Well, dies because he's doing something that fucks with the... I mean, she's basically been having health problems since he announced that he was the one in the videos. He fucked with the royal family and their PR. In addition to her grieving still over the brother, but since we don't spend a lot of time with her, we don't know how that's going.
Yeah.
It feels like it's more over what Willa's doing.
Yeah.
Because of the structure of the show. So, I don't know what they're going to do with one episode left. if he already announced his foundation as the health and fitness or whatever it was.
Sports and nutrition. I don't know,
sports and stuff. Because if he'd done the other thing, it would have made more sense as a gesture after they broke up to get kind of like season 2 ended. Mm-hmm. But then it'd be repetition as well.
Right.
So I don't know. At this point, I don't know what the next episode is.
I don't know. I honestly feel like it could be anything. Like, they also, like, hinted at him, like, giving up his title. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it could.
I don't think he would, now that August is officially the spare.
Yeah.
He's not gonna let August have that. And I don't think the show...
Should?
Not that the show should, but I don't think August in a show should have that.
Yeah.
Because at this point, August shouldn't want it like he would have before.
Yeah.
He should be trying to be a better person still, and that's gonna fuck that progress up.
For sure. So hopefully, yeah.
So
I don't think that's how it's gonna end.
Unless that wasn't Wille announcing his foundation, and then that gives him some room to maneuver, or the show to room to maneuver, is that he announces his foundation as one of the LGBT things, or even something related to, like, music or immigration.
Well, it could
something
even...
that supports Simon.
It could even be, like, the mental health thing, because Wille does struggle with his mental health, and that's not, like, fully on the nose of LGBT or anything, but it is honest, and it is something that he's passionate about and can make a difference with. And that's not, like, super political, so... he should have done that.
It's also very weird. I know this is Sweden. It's also really weird to me every time he's like, we can't make a political statement. I'm like, but what is the royal family for? I don't understand royalty. At all.
The royal family is just, like, for national pride.
No, I know, but it's like a royal family that also doesn't have any influence on politics?
Do royal families often have... Aren't they, like, separate from politics? Aren't they just supposed
officially,
to, like...
yes, but I assume it's kind of like the president here is not officially in charge of what's in Congress and, like, what bills get passed. But they're totally influencing that shit constantly. I don't know what... I don't understand countries that still have royal families.
Yes, well, we're from the U.S. and we don't have that, but...
It's like, what are these traditions they're upholding if it's not they get to decide what happens?
It's just national pride. Like, they take part in holidays and they can, like, volunteer for things, but they can't be, like, controversial things.
Like, if the protest at the school had gone badly and the school hadn't caved, then what does Wille do? Walk out? Because he can't be found out to have been part of it.
Well, the school wouldn't have made a big, like, wouldn't have told the press that was happening.
But the students...
So that's why he knew it was
students
safe.
would have had to do... I don't know what... If that had just lasted more than a day, I would have been fine with it. But it caved so fast.
Dude, they were so
like,
hungry,
they lasted
too.
overnight.
Like,
paying so much money for a bag of chips.
Yeah, like, listen, you should eat. Eating's great, but, like, sometimes you, like, go a little bit without eating.
Or, you know what you do? Plan for your sit-in protest.
They were hungry, like, 3 hours later. I'm like, you guys good? Like...
They're rich. They're used to having food when they want it. Immediately.
I'm like, you've clearly never worked a 10-hour retail shift and forgot to bring lunch. Like,
actually, my high schoolers have food. My middle schoolers this semester also constantly. They cannot live. It's insane. If they had to go an hour without food, some of them would die. Speaking of which, what about Simon's Charlie energy?
Simon's Charlie. You need to explain what you mean by that.
Charlie being from Heartstopper, who, eating disorder, and that was season 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. Forgetting the numbers, because that had more episodes than this, is very much, like, constantly punishing himself for every problem that happens. And he has, like, the eating disorder, and, like, Simon is giving up his Instagram thing, even though he was putting music out there before. He's dealing with this problem with, like, public comments, and all Wille is, like, just like, oh, well, don't deal with that. And then Simon just keeps caving to these things. Mm-hmm. Like, the protest thing, he's like, oh, solidarity when it doesn't cost you anything. Simon leaves. And I'm like, yay, good for you. You stood up for yourself. But then he just comes back a little bit later and just sits down. I'm like, no, don't support Wille in this. Wille doesn't need you to support him right now.
But Simon also knew the whole time, like, from season 1, when they first started talking and being friends, Simon's known the entire time who Wille is, what Wille's perspective on things is. Like, Simon just keeps having these expectations of him that are unfair because Wille has confirmed, like, don't have these expectations of me the whole time they've known each other.
I get that. I also think it's reasonable for Simon not to entirely understand what he was getting into.
Yeah.
Because he's immigrant, he's poor, he's only going to this school, like, special circumstances. All of these are the rich people, and it's all just strange. Mm-hmm. I feel like he could have caught on a little faster. Mm-hmm. But I don't...
Well, especially because Wille has told him, like, hey, it's gonna be really tough if I come out. And Simon said, like, I'd prefer that we're honest. I'd prefer that you come out. Like, he's told him these things, so Wille told you it would be an issue if he came out. And then he did come out as, like, a gesture. And it was, like, not enough. Like, I don't even think Simon really acknowledges, like, the fact that Wille came out at all, which already was a big step. He just kept being like, oh, I need more from you, I need more.
This comes back to your phrasing, although I sort of disagree, is that they're both right and both wrong. Mm-hmm. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, Simon's somewhat naive and he didn't know how bad this can get. But also, why would he be even thinking about that? If we're accepting these two main characters love each other and just really want to be together and be open about it, he's not ready for anything he's demanding of Wille, nor is Wille ready for anything that's going to... Even if he knows, oh, this could go bad, I don't think he's specific enough about it, ever. He's like, you can't be out there. It's like, what does that mean? Yeah, that song's like a problem. It's like, A, why?
Well, because the revolution.
Who fucking cares? I mean...
Obviously people care.
This is something the show should explain better. Have one of the other characters have a problem with the song. We do hear someone in the choir room making fun of it.
Right.
But we don't hear any commentary about it from anyone.
Yeah.
Except for random people on the internet. If we had other characters pointing out a problem with the song, it would make more sense.
Well, I think they're also just, like, approaching it from different perspectives, obviously, because Simon kept being really into these, like, negative comments that he was getting.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But
and the positive ones.
And the positive. But he was really into the negative ones, and it felt like he should know, like, that he was gonna get them. Kind of. Not that they shouldn't bother him, but, like, he's like, oh, I hate all the attention that I'm getting on social media, and then he kept posting. I'm like...
I'm guessing it's...
Yeah.
That's probably a problem that a lot of people would have on social media if they're not trying to be popular, but they suddenly have more followers. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, it's not that you have, like, a bigger proportion that is negative, but the negative is now a much bigger number than it was before. And so that's going to be overwhelming. Just like the positives would probably be much better, because you'd be getting more of the positives, too. Just like when he gets his photo taken at he's selling the raffle tickets and there's a protest thing going on behind him. Mm-hmm. He is happy. Yeah. Simon should be so excited to see that picture.
And Simon was really excited about telling Wille about it, and then Wille, like, shut him down, and that was really sad.
Sorry, I said that wrong. Wille should be excited about the picture. Yeah. He should be like, I'm glad you look happy. Because they've both been having problems this season. They've barely seen each other. And when they do, it's not going well.
It was like the sign in the background that was like the issue, obviously.
Which also, easy, if you have good PR for your royal family, it's easy to get around that. It's like, yes, he was near a protest. He wasn't in it. Like, anyone who assumes from that picture that he's in the protest is racist.
But, like,
Which I guess Sweden is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Swedish listeners. Unless you are.
Wait, what? What did you say?
I said I guess Sweden's racist.
Oh, no comment.
To be fair, Northern Europe, they had pretty much just white people for a long time.
I mean, what? Sweden is like, what, 90%
Still, yeah.
Swedish people. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Oh, I kind of understood why Wille was upset about it, too, though, because Wille was, like, trying to explain to Simon all the stuff that was going on with his mom, and Simon literally was not listening. He kept being like, oh, my Instagram this, my Instagram that. I'm like, listen to your boyfriend.
Well, but that's part of, like, the artificial structure of the season, is that they have so little time to interact that they're just trying to catch up on things.
Yeah.
Rather than actually interacting with each other's lives.
They need to talk for longer, because they need to talk about the Instagram, and they need to talk about his mom and everything. The one time they actually spend a longer time together, they fall asleep in the hallway. Outside the protest. Oh, yeah. They fall asleep. Yeah, I don't think Wille needs to be the spokesperson. Okay.
Okay, so we'll end there. Should Wille be the spokesperson for gay people? Yes.
No.
I think he already made that decision at the end of season 2.
He didn't, though.
He did.
He really didn't. That's not fair.
He made the choice to publicly come out. Mm-hmm. Which means You're saying Simon's naive. I think Wille is naive if he thinks he doesn't have to do that. It's an unfortunate thing and I'm speaking as an American, so I don't necessarily understand how it is in Sweden. But if you make the choice to publicly come out, then that's now part of who you are in public.
Mm-hmm.
So he either has to avoid being in public, which he can't, because he has to increasingly be more public now, because he's coming up on his 17th birthday and his mother's having problems and isn't out in public much. So I think he would be better off doing what Simon said, like the mental health thing at worst for his foundation, or the LGBT thing, because then he makes a specific point of, this is the thing I support, you people need to shut the fuck up.
I do hope that in the finale, he makes some sort of decision that shows he's more confident in who he is and, like, being a part of the community, for sure. Like, I think that's good for his growth. I just don't think that it's fair for Simon or for the audience to expect that he has to. Because is that really fair that just because you're gay or bi or whatever he is, they never really say, that you have to be, like, a political advocate or...
Well, except, is he going to be running his foundation? Or I don't assume he's going to be out there advocating for sports and health either. It's just, he's put a stamp on it.
But again, like, that's a PR thing. Like, if he's not really running his foundation in the first place, like, why would his family or his workers be like, oh yeah, LGBT, that's good. Like, it was just a naive thing for Simon to assume that that was going to go over well.
Fair. And I don't know Swedish television. Wait. Is Scam Swedish?
Norwegian.
That's Norwegian. Okay. So have I seen another Swedish TV show? No.
I love Scam, by the way.
I've seen Swedish movies before. Like, do we expect the season to end well?
I don't know, that's why I'm scared.
Like, what do we know about Swedish television? The people running this particular show.
I'm thinking it's going to be open-ended.
Like, just because it's popular on Netflix and gets them onto... Was it Jimmy Kimmel that we watched them on?
No, Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. But, like, American talk shows.
Yeah.
Which means they're popular enough here that it almost feels less like a foreign show. And I expect the end of the show is going to be happy, positive, set up the future nicely. But I don't see how they're going to get that.
I really, really, really... Like, if I could predict, because we're going to find out in a few days, I think it's going to end open-ended.
I mean, what has to on some level?
No, like, I think... Well, I'm talking about Simon and Wille's relationship specifically. I think we're not going to know if they're together. I don't know. That's what I would predict.
Well, part of the problem is the end of season 2 is a better series finale.
Mm-hmm.
Because he makes the gesture, we don't have to deal with the fallout.
Mm-hmm.
We just know, okay, this could go nicely for the two of them.
They're a team, they'll figure it out.
Right. Right now, they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the episode before the finale, they break up.
Dude, I know! I'm so upset!
So, basically, if this were an American show and that was the structure, all of the final episode is Wille trying to get back with Simon. But I don't know that it's going to be that. I think it has to deal instead with Wille and his mother, whether she dies or not. Something has to happen where we know he's going to be king sooner than he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he even wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to just make things harder. That's not happy.
I know.
Is this a happy show?
No. It's really not.
Where you have, like...
Okay, so here's my thing. I could talk forever about
Vincent
this.
Vincent got what he wanted. Is that a good thing?
Here's my thing is that this show hasn't been happy. Like, if I've seen season 1 and season 2 an unhealthy amount of times. It's not happy. Like, it's very dramatic. It's sad. You cry a lot, whatever. My issue is that I always felt like this show was a friendly show to the LGBT community.
Yeah.
And it does feel a little weird to me in a way if they just fully don't end up together, because it almost feels queerbaity.
Yes, depending on how Swedish television is.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just not,
ultimately, we should be by now at the point where that'd be an okay ending.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, because you want them to be together, but it's not queerbaiting that they break up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen many shows where people don't end up together in the end.
Yeah.
So that comes down to another, like, Swedish television thing. Is that what this show is? Why did they delay the finale?
I don't know, honestly.
Who made that choice?
I'm kind of thinking that, like, I think Swedish television, from, like, I've seen a few Swedish dramas, it's just very dramatic. And I'm honestly thinking that, like, there is still a possibility that they end up together, and that was just done for, like, drama, because now everyone's talking about it, like, oh my god, are they gonna, like, end up together? Like,
yeah.
But I kind of hate it, because if you put everything on paper between Will and Simon and everything that's happened, it's not really healthy for them to get back together right after that scene. But we also want it to happen.
That's why we also need, like, a jump in time, which is why I think backseat TV writing, if Simon had led up to the I can't do this anymore before the dinner scene, and then Wille yells at his mother, and his mother, like, has a heart attack, that would be a fantastic ending for a delayed finale. Because we know everything just got upended. He may be king. He's also got to fix shit with Simon. We have something to go forward. Right now, it's like, the only thing we have is him breaking up with him, and it's like, we can't spend the entire episode on fixing that. And maybe Felice and Sarah. But that feels like an afterthought. Felice got so left out of this season.
I love Felice.
That's too bad for...
She's honestly the least problematic character.
And her friend that speaks English.
Maddie.
She's hilarious, because she's always just, like, disagreeing with the other two.
I love
and
Maddie.
She speaks English.
Maddie's great.
She's like
honestly,
the Heartstopper guy that's always reading. Always there in the background, and when they have something to say, it's good.
Maddie's an icon, and she's, like, been really noticing, like... She always notices what is happening with everybody, which I love.
Was she the one that saw August and Sarah?
I don't know, I didn't get a good look.
I couldn't tell because the hair.
Yeah,
it was someone with long, dark hair, but they had it tied in a weird way, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell who it was, to be honest. But it was someone.
If it's one of the other two, then that's probably a bad thing. If it was her, it might be fine. So, basically all we have for the season finale, or series finale, is... That's...
So what do we predict, or what do we hope? And specify if they're different.
Oof. If Netflix is the ones who decided to delay the finale, it could be whatever.
I think it was Netflix, because Netflix's been doing that a lot.
If it was the producers that did it, then something big is about to happen. It'd be weird for Wille's mother to have a problem at the beginning of an episode. That should have happened at the end if it was going to happen structurally. So, how does he fix anything with Simon?
Predict, hope, where are you at?
Just so the other stuff in the season matters more, Wille needs to do something about the initiation stuff.
I think August is going to do something about it.
Right. Or in some way together.
Or August is going to do something about it, and Wille is going to be at a place of, like, understanding and respect with August.
Yeah. Because the parents need to know that Eric wasn't perfect. The public needs to know that the initiation bad version was real. Halershka maybe needs to close. Or needs a big overhaul. Probably just have overhaul. Or pretend overhaul.
All this needs to happen in 1 hour.
And Wille needs to fix things with Simon. But maybe some of that could kind of help fix things with Simon, because that would put Wille in a better place mentally. Where he could finally realize, what we need is Wille to go, like you were saying, Simon needed to ask Wille how he was doing. We need, in the last episode, the opposite. We need Wille to go ask Simon. We need Wille to actually care. And the last couple episodes, I'm not sure we saw much of them caring about each other at all. Simon made gestures in support of being in a relationship, like deleting his Instagram and all this other stuff, but none of those were positive. Neither one has made done a positive thing for the other in a few episodes.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And I think structurally, Wille is the one who has to do it.
I think it is clear that they care about each other.
Right.
But they're so wrapped up in their own stuff that they haven't been able to figure out a way to help each other.
The problem support each other. The season so far has made Simon the one having to make all of the effort for their relationship, sort of, or it feels that way, when the power structures of it are Wille should be the one who has to do that, because he's the one who's a prince.
But I kind of just, like, I agree, but I kind of disagree, because I think Simon should have realized, especially seeing, like, Wille with his parents, because Simon thinks that he does everything. But Wille has such a rift with his parents, and has been fighting with his parents, and has been trying to make things work. That's why it sucks that they broke up, because I kind of wish that Simon, seeing what Willow really goes through with his parents, that Simon would have been like, I'm sorry for you.
I think it was kind of the opposite, as he realized a couple of things. He realized Willow's going through some horrible thing with his parents that he's not telling me about.
Right.
And
he should have been honest.
People were talking before about Willow used to get in fights.
He has anger issues.
This might be the first thing that Simon solved that. He's yelling at his freaking mother, who clearly has health problems.
Wille clearly needs to find a way to healthily...
Wille needs therapy.
He needs to see Boris more often.
Yes.
Yes.
They all need to talk.
Mental health foundation. Important.
Right? The mental health thing would be a nice gesture, and the season... It partially comes down to the season also feels like it spent too much time keeping people away from each other.
I know.
Even the August and Wille had to talk to Boris. They did that once.
Mm-hmm.
And then August was there without Wille, and then they were in the hall and we're going to go in, but we don't see the conversation in there.
Yeah. It's weird.
It was like they were...
The season's kind of weird.
Like, they added the school almost closing, they added them having to go to the therapist, and neither of those went anywhere.
What people love so much about season 1 and season 2 is all of the, like, communication and conversations and, like, the characters and their dynamics. We didn't see a lot of their
Sarah
dynamics.
becoming friends is a great plotline.
Yeah.
Because Sarah's just there helping out with the horses until they realize, that we have
get
something
along,
in common,
like,
even
we
though
can
we're not
communicate.
alike.
Yeah.
And just, like, maybe even in a better way than Wille and Simon getting into a romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But we can rethink all of this after we watch the finale. And do probably a shorter next episode.
Yeah.
Because this one, recording is close to an hour.
Oops. My prediction is that it's open-ended. And my hope is that everybody's happy and that Simon and Wille are together and that August and Sarah break up and that
How did season 1 end?
Felice and Sarah get girl power necklaces. Season 1 ended with Wille told Simon that he was going to come out, but then he lied and said that it wasn't him, and then they broke up because Simon was like, I don't want to be with you if you're not going to come out. Which, like, Simon's like, I don't want to be with you if you're not going to come out, and then Wille comes out, and then Simon's like, actually, I still don't want to be with you.
Well, not too much later.
Has it been much later? I think it's been a couple weeks.
It's been... I'd say it's at least been, like, 2 weeks and maybe around a month.
So that's
it's
not
hard
okay.
to gauge. And that depends on when that opening scene was taking place versus the finale of season 2.
But that's not okay, you know?
They're teenagers.
I know. But, like, come on.
Timing-wise...
I do feel bad for Wille.
Timing-wise, this season covers
also,
a lot that should be in one school.
Before we go,
Yeah.
can we talk about the fact that Wille has terrible luck with holidays and special days? Because in season 1, it was Christmas... And Will is like, I love you, Simon. And Simon doesn't say it back. He's just like, Merry Christmas. And then on Valentine's Day, they go to the ball. And Simon goes with a different date. And Will has a terrible Valentine's Day. And then Simon breaks up with him on his birthday.
Yeah.
Will is not going to enjoy any celebrations for the rest of his life.
William Day, right?
Wilhelm Day.
Wilhelm Day.
Yeah.
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm Day.
So
poor Wille. I do feel for that guy. I really do.
I mean, they're both gone through a lot. They just need to either...
They need to communicate, please.
Ideally, if this were the real world, they should get the fuck away from each other.
No, stop.
No, right? Because
this is a gay drama. This is not what it's about.
What does Simon want to do? His whole thing that he does... Right, he can't do that if he's dating the prince.
He could be a singer.
No, we can't. What is he going to sing about?
Love and happiness and whatever.
Because he actually thinks about more important stuff than that.
Wille just has to be like, you can sing about whatever you want, I don't care.
Like, why do you, like, he called it a revolution in his song because that's the thing that's in his head. He's got bigger ideas than apparently their royal family has room for. I was totally hoping when he told the father that he writes music that they were going to, like, ask about his music, because that would have been hilarious. If, like, he had to play his song for
Revolution!
The parents, like, yeah, security.
No!
Get out of here.
I don't know. I want them to end up together. I think they will. I think it's all good. I think it'll be good.
I mean, I think they will. I just don't know how that's going to go. I mean, the episode is over an hour, right?
It's like an hour, I think.
But that's longer than the rest of the ones of this season.
Yeah.
Not really long, but who knows? But
I'm scared. I need it to be Monday
At
already.
least they did ask, at least once. I forget their phrasing, but, why are we like this?
Why are we like this?
Because we talked so much about Heartstopper, I could not see them not as those two in this. Especially Simon, because he had such, like, Charlie imploding on himself energy.
You know what's so cute, though, is that they watch like, the two casts, they watch each other's shows, and they always talk about them, and it's, like, really sweet.
But then, yeah, they asked the question, like, okay, good.
Why are we like this? My favorite.
Yeah, so we'll have another episode on the finale, and then we'll be back for talk about other things in a couple months, I guess.
Yes.
Under maybe, what were the potential titles?
Bury Your Gaze, the podcast.
Well, that was one. You didn't like queer shipping.
It was just a little, like...
Even though I had a cute idea for the logo and everything.
We'll talk about it.
Bury Your Gaze, the logo's going to be all horrible. You know it's going to have a shovel in the ground, right? And like a tombstone.
Yeah, I love it. It's kind of, emo.
Which is funny that we're mentioning it now when we're talking about the show where none of the gays died.
Unless Eric was gay.
Unless Eric was gay. Or Wille does.
I almost thought that was the secret. When he was like, I need to talk to you about Eric. I was like, is he gay?
Right?
That's what I thought was going to happen.
It wouldn't even... I don't think it would be something that August would know, but I felt like somehow that could come out.
Because August was all like, oh, you don't know Eric the way I know Eric. And I was like, Eric was gay? Like...
So was August. That was the whole thing. They were the couple before.
Ooh, someone write a fanfic.
You haven't read the...
Actually, don't.
Airgust? I don't know what a
Airgust? I don't know, man. I've never read it.
Augric.
But...
Augric fanfic.
Anyway, if any of you are fanfic writers out there, please write more Fix-It fanfics, because there aren't enough on AO3 right now. There's only, like, 3.
AO3 still exists?
Yeah, dude.
I thought they were the one that closed.
They shut down because of some hacking issue, but they're back.
Oh, okay.
Go support AO3, everybody. It's my fave.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for listening. 50v20 is a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to this show and more at lemmingdrops.com.
Subscribe to the show and review the show on your favorite podcatcher.
Join the Facebook group at Lemming Drops Studio Tour for updates.
Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at 50v20podcast. And send us gifts.
And support the show at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
Bye!
Can't afford to kill you, can't afford to stay. There's something in mine. I can't afford to kill you, can't afford to stay. There's something